Are you constantly finding yourself distracted and scrolling from app to app, trying to stay organized and just scrolling endlessly through social media instead? You're not alone. So many of us struggle with staying focused, with staying organized, because our world is just filled with endless distractions. Whether you're spending time on your phone, whether you're jumping between tasks endlessly, or just getting sidetracked by other tasks, it's really easy to lose track of time and then not be as productive. Hey, life feels crazy. You feel like an unproductive mess. Listen, I've got you. I'm going to introduce you to a method that I found on YouTube, and it has been an absolute game changer for me. And it's called the Life Tracker Method. It is so simple to do. Even your procrastinating self can stick to it. Let's dive in. I have tried so many different journals and I can never seem to find the exact one that fits what I do in my day to day. So I found this on YouTube and I adopted it instantly because I thought this is for me. You know, there aren't unnecessary pages. I'm going to use every single square inch of this journal, and it just really, really helps me keep track of things. So if the idea of journaling intimidates you, I want you to stay tuned because all you need is this little bullet point journal and a pen. You don't need to sit down for hours on end writing things about your day. You don't have to write Dear Diary messages. It's just very, very quick to track, very simple, very methodical. The hard part is actually sticking to it and actually entering the information in your journal, becoming your daily routine. That's the hard part. First off, I am filming this in January 2025. I just bought a new journal starting off the new year. So all you need is this simple journal, and here's what it looks like inside. It's just bullet points, if you can see that right there. And the way that I split it up is on the left is at the very top, I write the month and the year. On the left is the dates and then the days of the week. The middle column essentially talks about the one thing that happened during my day that I am super excited about and, the highlight of my day. And then over here, I have these little squares and it's my tracker system. You decide what you want to track. I track steps, water, and reading. I'm trying to read every single day these days. And then over here on this side are my personal goals for the month. I've tried everything. I've tried apps and spreadsheets, but really nothing for me beats physical pen and paper. I don't know if it's my generation. I don't know what it is, but I find when it's a digital format, I don't tend to stick to it as much. I find, just having the physical journal in my hand helps me stay on track, and also having it next to my bed or next to my desk. If things are out of sight, they're out of mind. So that app that I downloaded 3 weeks ago, it's at the back of, you swipe on the screen and it's at the very back, and I always forget about it. So I love these physical journals. I can leave it right next to me and it's just a constant reminder to just enter things into it. When it comes to journaling or entering anything into a tracker, it's all about consistency, right? Like I said, that's the hardest part. I am not one of those people that likes to stick to routines. Like I mentioned before, the hardest part is actually just staying on track with entering the information in your journal. For me, at the very beginning, I had to set an alarm to remind myself to enter the information. So if you want to track your progress in something, this is a great way to track it. And not only that, by entering the highlight of your day, you can also keep track of just those special little moments throughout the day. And sometimes it's just really simple. Sometimes it's mundane. It could be as simple as I took a walk today. If that's the highlight of your day, then that's great. However, I love looking back at this and seeing where I'm at, and I can almost tell where my headspace was at. Like I said, if you're tracking something, you can see patterns and mindset. I live in Canada where the winters are really harsh and cold. My January and February are typically a little bit gloomier. The highlights of my day, it's not going hiking and kayaking in the Canadian Rocky Mountains that are right near me. Maybe the highlight of my day is curling up on the couch and reading my book. It's kind of one of those things that you can track, and you can kind of see patterns of behavior, and where you feel you want to improve, you can easily go back and say, oh, one sec. I'm a very creative person. So for me, if I take on an art project, right now I'm learning how to oil paint. That will get me through the winter. That'll get me through the hard months. And then in the spring, summer, fall, I get to go be outside in the mountains, camping, all the backcountry things that we like to do. So it helps me a lot. I'm just gonna go into my go-to journal a little bit more. Like I mentioned, you can buy this on Amazon. You can buy it at Staples, really affordable. You can buy anything that is like this. And this time I just opted for a dotted journal, basically. There's no lines. It's just a bunch of dots that you can connect, and you can doodle, and you can create your own columns and things like that. And listen, this is an art class. You don't have to be an artist to be able to fill this out. I'll show you. It's right there at the bottom. It's probably backwards, but I'll put it up on the screen, and I'll add a link to it below. You can check it out in my Amazon store. The goal for this journal is simply to track things. That's it. That's the goal. Whatever gets tracked gets improved. But here's something that I want you to keep in mind. I used to think that journaling, if I missed a day, if I missed a week, even sometimes I missed a month, I would feel like I fell off the wagon, and I would feel like I give up on this. But here's the thing. Don't put that much pressure on yourself. When you are tracked, obviously I want you to stay as consistent as possible, but if you miss a couple of days in a row, just keep going. Pick up where you left off. It's not that big a deal. The beauty of this method is that it is flexible. So maybe one day you're tracking your sleep, and then the next day you're just writing down ideas, business ideas, anything that inspires you. It is that easy. It essentially can become your brain dump zone. You just dump everything out of your head into this little notebook, and you save it for later. You can come back to it, or just never go back to it. Maybe it's just something you needed to get out of your system. Essentially, the best part is looking back at everything that you've written. Going back, sometimes life flies by so quickly, and in tracking and writing the highlights of your day and things like that, I don't know about you, but life is busy, and my brain is just going a million miles a minute all the time. So I forget things constantly. I constantly forget things. I actually have a lot of relatives and cousins that will remember things from our childhood, and it's a complete blank for me. And I so wish I had started doing this in my youth, that I can look back and see where I was at, and remember that time I went to the dance and what happened that night. But unfortunately for me, I've let all of those memories slip away, and the feeling of time flies when you're not writing things down and when you're not tracking things is yes, because you don't remember those tiny little details, those little nuances that make each day special. So I actually have started not only do I do this year specifically, I started a new habit that I'm going to be sharing in a new video, and that is something that I learned from Matthew Dix. It's called Homework for Life. If you want to go have a look, but I will be creating a video for it in the future. And honestly, just from doing it over the past few weeks, really has opened my eyes at how many little details, how many, like I said, those special little moments through life that I have actually forgotten, and I really regret not. What I want to do is I want to challenge you. It doesn't even have to be this particular notebook. It can be any notebook. It could be lines. It could be a blank sheet of paper. But I challenge you to create something like this for yourself, or follow this pattern, because for me, this is what works. Just create a paper spreadsheet and just start tracking. Don't beat yourself too much if you miss any days. There are no rules. There are no fancy rules, no restrictions, nothing. Just start writing things down. And it's black and white. It's on a piece of paper. There's no question. There's no nuance. There's no gray zone. I know that if I do this particular actions every single day, I will reach my goal in the time that I have calculated. Now, like I said, for me in the beginning, just thinking about filling it out every day, I would forget, I would get busy, I would choose to do other things, and I would just say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And then before I knew it, 5, 10, 14 days had gone by. And yes, I would go back and kind of fill out what I could remember, but it's so much easier to do it on a daily. So for me, I set an alarm on my phone every single day. I set one in the morning and then I would set one at night, because in the morning, I'm not a morning person. I will fully admit I'm not a morning person. So sometimes I would just skip it and just kind of relax in my bed. So then I would set a second alarm at night so I don't forget. And now it's just become a daily habit. I never forget. It's right here. It's something that I do religiously. So for you, once your habit gets locked in, then it'll just come naturally, and then you will achieve so many more of your goals. You have your goals written down, you will reverse engineer them, and you will know exactly what to do. And you'll see that, I don't know, your weight or measurements for your body, if you're in an exercise plan, you know that if anything is off, you know that you need to check yourself and go back to what you were doing before when it was working, right? So right now I'm in a season of healing I have a few physical things going on in my spine. And so yes, I'm still moving my body. I'm still prioritizing health and fitness and things like that, but I have to adjust things a little bit. And if I look at last year's tracker, I can see exactly where things started to change for me, where things my health started to decline a little bit. Thankfully, things are almost back to normal, so I'll be able to get back to my normal workout routine very soon, and I'm so excited. But like I said, if you have a goal that you set last year and you never reach the goal, but you aren't 100% sure as to why, this will tell you exactly when and why you fell off the wagon. So I highly encourage you to take this on and give it a try. It's life-changing if you actually take it seriously.